For my proposal, I will outline my research into the marketing campaign and release strategy of my selected films, Blade Runner and its successor, Blade Runner 2049. I have selected these two films because I am very interested to see the different ways in which they have been advertised, considering that they are stories connected to each other. A philosophical film noir fable drenched in the heavy perfume of death, Blade Runner is the tale of a grizzled bounty hunter, Rick Deckard, and his mission to execute a mutinous gang of replicants. Ridley Scott's third film remains to many his most beloved and richly layered work. Based on the 1968 novel Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, written by Philip K. Dick, the film would have had some interest in it before any major marketing campaign began because of fans who have already read the book or similar works by the author. This would have helped to target an audience that had read the novel and now wanted to see how the film turned out. The 1980s was an era of E.T., Star Wars, Predator, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the mega-selling novels of Stephen King. The first blockbuster movies were undoubtedly the 1970s flicks Jaws and Star Wars, whose opening weekends became the stuff of legend. But in the 80s, great masterminds like Steven Spielberg and George Lucas fine-tuned the art of the blockbuster to the point where their movies dominated decades of top 10 grossers. Blade Runner was all set to join the ranks of the blockbuster elite, filled with special effects, futuristic locations, and great action sequences. It ticked all the boxes in its goal to become a blockbuster. When the film was originally released, however, several problems began to emerge. The main one being that it was released around the same time as the Steven Spielberg film E.T. It was an instant smash at the box office, figures showing E.T. had a domestic gross of around $435 million, whilst Blade Runner only had a domestic gross of $32 million, a significant financial gap between these two films. These figures just go to show how much attention E.T. drew away from Blade Runner. Because of this, the film failed to capture the imagination of the target audience and was not popular. It was only with the passing of time and the boom of the home video that the film soon became the centre of a growing fan cult. Blade Runner may have become a smash hit instantly if it had not been lined up to be released at the same time as E.T. This shows poor planning on the part of the marketing campaign team. Certain actors would have also helped to bring in an audience who were fans of that actor and would come to see the film mainly because they were in it. During the 1980s, Harrison Ford starred in several successful films and became a popular actor. Playing the swashbuckling rogue in Star Wars trilogy made Ford a popular star. But the role of Indiana Jones, an adventurous archaeologist in Raiders of the Lost Ark in 1981, helped to cement him as a cultural icon and one of the world's most popular actors. Harrison Ford's appearance as the main character in the film would have helped to draw his fans to the film. He also helped to advertise the film more openly by doing TV interviews on the American talk show Late Night with David Letterman, on which he mainly talked about the Blade Runner film. This would have helped because of the popularity of both Harrison Ford and the talk show would have drawn a large audience to watch that particular episode of the show, some of which may then go to see the film because they saw it being talked about and became interested in what they heard. Because this film was released at a time before the internet, the ability to market it to the public would have been primarily posters and trailers, although the trailers would have had to appear at appointed times on television. This severely limited the amount of people the marketing team could reach, thereby limiting the amount of people who would have come to see the film at the time of its release. A return to the philosophical film noir world of Blade Runner, the film Blade Runner 2049 follows the life of Officer K, a new Blade Runner for the Los Angeles Police Department, who unearths a long-buried secret that has the potential to plunge what's left of society into chaos. With the release of the original trailer, a series of character posters were released to the public. The one on the left shows the character Deckard walking through a dusty, barren environment, and the one on the right showing the character Officer K walking through a fog next to his police vehicle. Neither offers much in the way of story, and both recreate looks first seen in the teaser trailer, but still, these posters are eye-catching and would only draw people's attention to the new film. A major piece of advertisement that was done for this film was the release of a series of 3 short films that were designed to fill in the audience on the extensive world of the movie, to tell the story of how things have changed in the last 35 years since the original release. One of the films is an animated short sequence from the famous director of Cowboy Bebop's Shinichi Watanabe. This will draw in people who are fans of his work, who may then wish to see the short and then become interested in the upcoming film it is based off. Social media is also a new platform that this film has been advertised on that wasn't possible at the time of the original film's release. Posting on the online social media giant Twitter, the production company Sony Pictures has released to the public a series of clips that show scenes from the film, ranging from 7 seconds to 30 seconds. These clips have the potential to reach millions of people worldwide on their phones, computers, and iPads. Snapchat is also an online platform that was used to help advertise the new film to the public. The marketing team would have wanted to capture the attention of the millennial generation and chose to do this by using Snapchat, which is often used by the younger generation who might only be learning of the Blade Runner films for the first time. They used short video GIFs to show an advertisement of the movie and some test footage for a special effects scene in the film. In conclusion, there is a very clear difference between how these two films have been marketed. For one, the internet was a very strong factor in the marketing of the second Blade Runner film, whereas in the first the internet had not yet been invented and was not widespread. Therefore it was rather difficult to advertise it, limited only to radio, television and posters. Whereas again, the 2049 Blade Runner film could have advertised easily on the internet and social media websites, thus giving a clear advantage to Blade Runner 2049 over its original. Thus giving a clear advantage in advertising to the sequel over the original. Another clear advantage that the sequel had was that it could build on the reputation of the original Blade Runner film. Thus, the original film actually in turn helped to advertise the sequel inadvertently.